Fpyq Jiang. Chapter 46. A Type of Yearning. Qi Yunruo and the more than 10 young boys and girls stayed overnight in an empty house. The next day, he woke up feeling sore all over. The human broker gave each of them a mixed grain bun, informing them that they would start their journey today. They relied on more than 3 carriages for transport. It would take 3 to 4 days before they reached the royal capital of the Qiang. He washed his face with cold water. Tired and hungry, he really worried whether Cheng Sija would search for him in the city. Although Qi Yunruo wasn't sure how much trouble he had given him, it would be hard for Cheng Sija to throw out those Qiang people. After they had smashed open the floor in the abandoned side wing of the palace, they should have gone above ground and created a disturbance. Qi Yunruo left the house with a gloomy atmosphere. As he did, 2 servants in the courtyard glanced at him. The human broker was of the Qi ethnicity, named Moshi. He was in the middle of preparing the oxen, horses, and luggage. This courtyard was very close to the human market. Other than the more than 10 people staying here, there were also servants of differing ages. With furrowed brows, Moshi looked at Qi Yunruo and asked, "Are you full? If you're full, then get to work." Qi Yunruo nodded. He noticed that Moshi didn't only buy slaves but also purchased goods. For example, spices and cloth. Qi Yunruo helped to move things around and Moshi watched him for a while. "Which family did you escape from?" asked Moshi. Qi Yunruo stood there, dazed. Then he quickly replied, "The Feng family." Moshi frowned and grunted in question. "Does your honored self not know the Feng family would soon meet disaster?" said Qi Yunruo in an ambiguous manner. "In a few days, the king will deal with them. If I don't leave now, don't tell me I'll have to be implicated with them." Moshi muttered, "Is that true?" Although Qi Yunruo wasn't sure what Moshi had been referring to, he still nodded. The Feng family conspired a lot. Sooner or later they would encounter an accident. Moshi narrowed his eyes as he stared at Qi Yunruo. "Did you do unskilled labor?" "I worked in the accounts office, writing and balancing the books." Without realizing it, Moshi thought that once he returned with a fortune from the Qiang lands, Xinyuan country would have changed immensely. The Feng family was the most influential family of the Qi ethnic group. If they declined, then the Qi people would not have a chance to be in power for many years. Come noon, the group set off. Moshi, a hired thug and a few carriage drivers brought more than 10 new slaves and the other goods. Qi Yunruo sat in the middle carriage. There was no roof. A glance, and one could see everyone in the carriage. He took note of the groups of patrol soldiers coming and going. If they saw any suspicious people, they would immediately approach them and interrogate them. The members of Qi Yunruo's group were mostly thin and sallow. Also, as a standard human broker, Moshi did not attract the attention of the patrolling soldiers. From the human market to the city, then from the city to a different road out of it, Moshi's group had only been stopped once in the middle of the route. To curry favor, Moshi handed over a pouch of money. He smiled. Daring to ask what kind of people officer is searching for. The patrol officer at the front slipped the pouch into a pocket by his hip. His expression grew shades gentler as he answered, "A woman. Are you all leaving the city?" Moshi took out his documents and said, "These are all to be sent to the Qiang. Here's also the signature of the magistrate's office. These girls are all from poor families. Officer can search at will." The patrol officer merely swept his gaze through the crowd before coming to the conclusion that the person he was looking for wasn't there. Moshi's oxen-drawn carriage blocked the road. He noticed that not too far away approached a carriage of belonging to an influential lot. The patrol officer said, "It's nothing. You can go." Moshi thanked him and continued to lead the carriages away. The patrol officer continued on forward. Then the officer at the end of the line coldly said, "Halt." Qi Yunruo's heart suddenly thrashed against his chest. Moshi stopped his carriage. In an overcautious manner, he asked, "This officer, does your honored self have any other orders? That tall patrol officer approached Qi Yunruo's carriage. Qi Yunruo lowered his head, heart racing as the footsteps grew louder and louder. Then they stalled. Qi Yunruo's pupils dilated. But that patrol officer suddenly grabbed the chin of the young man next to him, tilting it up. Officer! What's wrong? Mo Shi stared at Qi Yunruo, cold sweat flowing down his body. Qi Yunruo had already clutched his hands into fists. At that moment, a shout burst through the air behind him. You're still not letting him go? You're obstructing the envoys of the great state of Kong from entering the palace. If we are late, wait until the king punishes you. A Xinyuan country consulate officer approached them by horse. Behind him were two refined sedans. The official scowled as he clutched his horsewhip, discontent with the road blockage to the extreme. In a flash, the patrol officer who had reached out toward Qi Yunruo stilled. His commanding officer pulled him to the side, and yelled anxiously at Mo Shi, "Why are you still not moving?" Mo Shi nodded in a haste. Yes, 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 yes. This lowly one apologies. He rushed to pull at the reins, calling out to the caravan to quickly leave the city. The expressions of consulate officials from before relaxed. They said behind them, "Continue moving." As the patrol officers waited at the roadside for the others to leave, the commanding officer said with disdain, "What's with that attitude? He's merely a 7th-rank official. He actually fawned over the officials of Great Kong so much. Truly losing face for us Xinyuan country people." Meanwhile, Qi Yunruo's heart could not relax. The moment he had heard the envoys had arrived, he bit his lips. He could not lift his head to search for Brother Ji and could not make a noise for others to hear. He could not reveal his emotions. After the fleet of carriages were far away from the city, and there were no more patrolling officers around, Qi Yunruo glanced back. He saw crowds of people bustling with activity, but the envoys' sedans were no longer in sight. Sitting upright, Ji Huan suddenly waved. "Stop the sedan!" The large sedan carried by 4 people stopped in an instant. Yuan Rong, who had heard the words from the side, also ordered for his sedan to stop. The official who had ridden his horse in front rode all the way back to them. "Is anything the matter, sirs?" Ji Huan was somewhat perplexed. He stared at the door curtain of his sedan, and after a while, he said with indifference, "Nothing. Continue moving." Outside the city gates, Mo Shi presented his documents, yet was not allowed to leave smoothly. First, the gatekeeping soldiers abided by the rules and checked on the girls. One of them groped a girl's bosom and she screamed, attempting to avoid his touch. But the soldiers only broke into uproarious laughter. Mo Shi laughed along with them, and then presented 2 more pouches of money. The soldier said, "We also have to inspect the boys." Mo Shi's heart thumped. The slaves were crammed into 3 carriages. 2 guards dragged a beautiful young boy off the carriage. Laughing, the guard said, "So good looking, could this be a girl pretending to be a boy?" Qi Yunruo gritted his teeth. The boy next to him was scared to the point of trembling. The other boy cried as he struggled, trying to break free of the soldier's grasp. But Mo Shi was powerless. Fury coursed through Qi Yunruo's veins. Fortunately, a high-ranking officer in charge of the gates ran over and thrashed his whip. "Absolutely disgraceful! What did I order you guys to do?" Scared to the point of jumping, they quickly released the boy. "Have you finished questioning them yet?" "Yes. We've finished checking them." "Then let them go already." The boy who had been dragged off the carriage ran back to Qi Yunruo's carriage, cradling his head as he softly sobbed. Qi Yunruo couldn't help but approach him and hug him. Mo Shi's fleet of carriages finally left the city. He glanced at Qi Yunruo. Qi Yunruo met his gaze. Mo Shi did not find anything unnatural with his gaze, and did not say anything to him in the end. Instead, he shouted to the drivers, "Today I've already spent a lot of money. So why don't you hurry up already? Once we get to the Qiang lands, we have to sell off all these goods. Qi Yunruo patted the boy's back and softly asked, "What's your name?" The boy said in a trembling voice, "I am Zhou Yang." Zhou Yang appeared 13 to 14 years of age. The woman who sold him yesterday had claimed he was 15. She said he didn't eat much and was good with labor. Qi Yunruo stared at his small and slender shoulders and sighed inwardly. The boy who had his chin forcibly grabbed by the patrol guard approached Qi Yunruo and said, "My name is Sui Yu." In a soft voice, Qi Yunruo said, "I am Shui Ru." The roads of Xinyuan country were level. But the Qiang lands seldom had flat roads. Once they turned into those bumpy roads, and the carriage shook, Zhou Yang couldn't eat any more, vomiting every bit of food he ate. In one day's time, his face had grown yellow from all the suffering. However, Sui Yu had a great appetite, eating the food Zhou Yang couldn't eat himself. Once, Mo Shi passed by and sneered. "You really can eat a lot. No wonder your family sold you." In an instant, Sui Yu's mood plummeted. He set aside all the rations and biscuits, not moving any more. Qi Yunruo comforted him, saying, "Everything Mo Shi says is provoking. Don't listen to him." Gloomy, Sui Yu said, "It'd be great if it were my real parents who sold me. When I was young, my parents died. My uncle thought I ate too much and didn't want to raise me. After stealing my family's house and farmland, he sold me." Qi Yunruo couldn't help but sigh in sorrow, patting his shoulder in a consoling manner. But Zhou Yang's little face was already streaked with tears. "After my birth mother died and my stepmother entered the family, my father either yelled at me or hit me. Everything my stepmother's son ate was better than mine. Then my stepmother said I stole money and my father beat me soundly, locking me in the firewood shed. After that, my stepmother said that we were incompatible. It was either me or her that could stay, so he allowed her to sell me." "You're more pitiful than me," said Sui Yu. Zhou Yang's sobs grew. Helpless, Qi Yunruo thought for a moment. All of a sudden, he smiled. "Actually, my father also sold me." Eyes gleaming with tears, Zhou Yang stared at him. "He has always treated me poorly. I don't know why he did, but I grew used to it. My mother was an outside mistress. She left behind a huge fortune for me. After he seized my assets, he gave it to his legitimate daughter as her dowry. And then he sold me." For a moment, Zhou Yang was unsure whether he or Shui Ru was more pitiful. After a few more sobs, he stopped crying. But once the three of them had revealed their pitiful stories, one after the other, the rest of the children mentioned how they had been sold. Some of their parents were gamblers that could not pay off their debts. Some of them had been sold by their relatives. There was a poem from ancient times that read, "A glance gives pain. Now that you have left, do not look back." No one had sent off these children. They could only find company with each other, miserable as they were. Qi Yunruo raised his own spirits and said, "Don't worry. I heard that Princess Chongping of the great state of Kong is a rare compassionate person. Tender, virtuous, and good-natured. We are here to attend to the princess. At that time, we would pass our days together in happiness." "Really?" asked Zhou Yang. Qi Yunruo said, "Yes. The prince's elder sister would definitely be the most gentle, kind-hearted, and best master in the world. She would treat these pitiful boys and girls well." The night before they reached the royal capital of the Qiang, Qi Yunruo couldn't catch a wink of sleep. His heart pounded chaotically in his chest. Was His Highness in the royal capital right now? Had he seen his elder sister yet? How was he currently? Rolling over, he thought, how is Brother Ji doing at Xinyuan country right now? Did he mention getting rid of all their spies in our country? What about Cheng Sija? Did he find Feng Qiang yet? Did he act against the Feng family yet? They spent the night in the open. As Qi Yunruo left the carriage, Mo Shi coldly said, where are you going? Qi Yunruo was startled. A while later, he said, I'm not trying to escape. I just want to take a stroll. Mo Shi watched Qi Yunruo attentively for a while. Then he beckoned. Come here. For a moment, Qi Yunruo hesitated. Then he went over to him. From the start, Mo Shi had found it fishy. Qi Yunruo's appearance, the patrol guards on the road. Mo Shi had been watching his slaves the whole trip. When those soldiers had acted, Qi Yunruo seemed too nervous. He had then realized that Qi Yunruo's identity wasn't as simple as the youth had claimed. Are you truly an accountant for the Feng family? The night air swept by. Qi Yunruo frowned, staring at Mo Shi without a word. Mo Shi laughed in a grim manner. The Feng family only uses people of the Qi ethnicity. I didn't realize this before, but you're obviously a Han person from just a glance. How could you be someone from the Feng family? Qi Yunruo said, we've already gotten to this point. Do you still want to tie me up and send me to prison? I only want to know who you are. Qi Yunruo didn't answer his question. Rather, he said, Boss Mo Shi, I think you should be aware of something. King Cheng truly will act against the Feng family. From then on, the status of you Qi people will suffer a sudden, devastating decline. It could never compare to how it was in the past. Cheng Sija should be the common enemy of you Qi people. And I am also an enemy of Cheng Sija. Isn't this enough? Mo Shi fell silent for a long time. Then, slowly, he nodded. A wave of relief washed through Qi Yunruo. Mo Shi said, you can leave. Qi Yunruo shook his head. I've already sold myself to you. Mo Shi harumphed. I didn't give you any money. You didn't even sign your self-selling contract, even if I spent money to bring you out of the country. Your presence here will only give me trouble. Anxious, Qi Yunruo said, just sell me then. But Mo Shi was suspicious. Why do you want to enter the Qiang's royal capital? What are you trying to do? Don't tell me you're an assassin. Not a word escaped Qi Yunruo's lips. Mo Shi was frightened to the extreme by his own conjecture. He blurted, my temple is very small. It cannot use such a large Buddha like you. From now on, let's go our separate ways. I definitely won't rat you out. A sigh and then Qi Yunruo asked, have you ever seen such a thin and weak assassin like me? From the start, I was Cheng Sija's prisoner who escaped. I don't have any ability to do anything right now. However, Mo Shi was still doubtful. Qi Yunruo continued, I wholeheartedly want to find a path for myself at Princess Changping's side. If you sell me, you'll get money. You won't suffer any losses. Mo Shi rushed him back to the carriage as he said, let me think about it. The next day, they arrived at the royal capital. In their possession was a signed document of Prince Fpyq, the prince with the most influence at present. Mo Shi and his group were politely brought into the city. Mo Shi was somewhat overwhelmed by favor from his superiors. There was someone to escort them the whole way. All the way to the eastern part of the royal capital, to the prince's tent. From afar, Qi Yunruo could make out many houses made with the architecture of the Han people. They were new. Qi Yunruo couldn't help but think that was where the princess was living. The Qiang official in charge of purchasing the slaves said, it's great that you arrived today. Tonight, eldest prince and Princess Changping will receive the prince from Great Kong. These people can then serve them tonight. Once Mo Shi received his payment, he could leave. After a place to stay was arranged for Qi Yunruo and the other slaves, they would learn how to serve people. Then come night time, they would have to be present at the banquet. Mo Shi glanced at Qi Yunruo ambiguously. Yet Qi Yunruo did not notice it. Ever since he had heard the Qiang official mention that the princess would be receiving the prince tonight, he could not hear or see anything else. Sui Yu pulled him aside, snapping him out of his thoughts. Zhou Yang whispered, us three should live together. Still in a daze, Qi Yunruo nodded. The crowd followed the Qiang official. A while later, they caught sight of a maidservant of the Han ethnicity. The Qiang man called her Miss Wang. Wang examined the group of slaves. Wash up and change your clothes first. Then follow me to meet the princess. After the boys and girls had finally seen a Han person, they grew excited. The heart of Wang softened at the sight. Don't be afraid. Princess is a great master. As long as you are obedient and sensible, princess will treat you well. Qi Yunruo also felt excited. After he met the prince's elder sister, he would see the prince very soon after. He, Zhou Yang and Sui Yu entered a small tent to wash up. They put on clean clothes and ate a hot meal of grilled meat and large flat bread. The still somewhat cautious boys and girls followed Wang to Princess Changping's residence. The residence of the princess wasn't too large. Qi Yunruo looked all around. The largest room was the reception hall. Deeper in was a study, and the innermost room was the princess' inner chamber. More than 10 people followed Wang into the room. In no time at all, they all knelt. In a mesh of uneven voices were the words paying respects to princess and kowtowing to princess. Qi Yunruo knelt among the crowd, unable to fight the urge to raise his head for a look. Indeed, she was an extremely beautiful woman with clear and bright eyes. So beautiful, that comparing her to an immortal wouldn't be excessive. The woman sat on a low couch, gazing gently at the people kneeling before her. Her eyes stayed on Zhou Yang for a moment. Qi Yunruo lowered his head and did not continue looking. Li Ya raised her hand. Hurry and stand. In spite of this, some of the kneeling people did not dare to move. Li Yao smiled. Wang hurry and help support your little brothers and sisters up. Hey, hurry up and stand, you all. Wang swiftly helped someone to their feet. Our princess isn't a harsh master. Sui Yu softly said to Qi Yunruo, the princess truly seems to be good-natured. Qi Yunruo nodded and followed the others to stand. At this time, he noticed that apart from the princess and Wang there was also another Han woman on the plumper side standing next to the princess. This woman also had good looks but appeared crafty. Before the princess even spoke, she faced the slaves and said, our eldest prince treats princess very well. As soon as princess arrived, eldest prince prepared a new residence just for your honored self and purchased Han slaves for your honored self to use. In the past, I lived in a tent and only had one slave who couldn't do anything right. They always disappointed me. In a flash, Wang drew her brows together. But Li Yao merely smiled, looking at her former maidservant who stood by her side. She said, you've always handled things well. China realized that the princess did not pick up on her intention, to take advantage of the situation and get herself a few Han slaves. And she felt somewhat displeased. Glancing at the crowd of slaves from the corner of her eyes, she said, these new lowly slaves probably don't know any rules. Princess should place them in my hands, so I can teach them the rules. Afterward, I will send them back to your honored self. With an air of indifference, Wang said, you're right. You're the most familiar on how to serve people. China looked at her, cold enough to freeze. Then she rudely spat, what are you even? Just a maidservant who services others. When do you have the right to speak when a master is speaking? I don't have the right to speak when a master is speaking, but are you considered a master? End chapter. Fpyq Jiang. Chapter 47. Reunion. Once Wang had finished speaking, she did not spare China even a glance. She said to the slaves who were embarrassed and at a complete loss, now that you've met master, we will go outside and I will briefly mention the rules and protocol. Tonight, there will be a banquet. You will have to attend and serve. Before Qi Yunruo had stepped foot outside, he glanced at the woman whose face glowed red from anger and his hate for that woman grew. However, Princess Changping was as calm as before, not a hint of turbulent emotions was shown at all. Qing'er received a lot of favor from the eldest prince, Fpyq. She gave birth to his third son, fifth son, and sixth daughter. Her status was different from those of others. After seeing the princess arrive and Yue Hóu placing so much importance on her, she had long since been on alert. Ever since she had arrived in the Qiang lands, the princess was no longer her master. In the future, they would share the same man. If one desired to live a good life, one must climb one's way up. These past few years, many people had curried favor with her. Qiner loathed her past as a slave. Princess Changping's appearance threw her back into that state. She was in a hurry to prove she was a master in eldest Prince Yue Hóu's residence, that she wasn't worse than anyone. Although Princess Changping's identity was more distinguished than hers, Qiner saw the princess as merely a concubine. If this news was spread in Great Kong, wouldn't the princess be scolded to death? Humph! Wang Er said, those Qiang people don't understand propriety, but it doesn't matter. Tonight, a prince from our great state of Kong will arrive. You will have to serve the dishes and pour alcohol. Make sure to lower your heads and not look at the masters. Remember these two things first. Other than that, make sure you are quiet. After fulfilling your duties, retreat. This should be good enough. Wang Er looked at Zhou Liang, this boy. She pulled him aside and sighed. How old are you? Zhou Liang looked at Qi Yunruo for help, and Qi Yunruo flashed him a smile. Zhou Liang lowered his head and said, I am 13 this year. Furrowing her brows, Wang Er said, how can you work properly at such a young age? Zhou Liang blurted, Sister, I can work and I don't eat much. Pfft! Why are you so scared? I'm not going to sell you. How about this? Tonight you can deliver the dirty dishes and eating utensils at the back to the kitchen. Don't rush around at the banquet. Wang Er separated the boys from the girls and informed them of their duty one at a time. She adjusted each of their postures and movements. When she reached the person next to Qi Yunruo was absent-mindedly washing teacups. He was caught in a daze again as his heart was unable to calm. It had been a rough ride to get here, but he still found the road ahead boundless and obscure. Would he be able to see the prince? After they met. If you're done washing them, then bring them out, said Wang Er. Following a moment of staring blankly, Qi Yunruo smiled and said, I understand. Sui Yu and Qi Yunruo arranged the teacups together as they chatted. Sui Yu said, after we deliver the dishes, we will return quickly to the back. They said we cannot listen as the masters speak. Qi Yunruo calculated how he could see the prince as he nodded to show he understood. Once they had completed their tasks, a few boys came together to talk. Most of them were from Xinyuan country. It was only because they were of Han descent that Yue Hóu had purchased them. They did not revere the princess of Great Kong. They only felt that the princess was benevolent and would not treat them too poorly. The new slaves lived in tents surrounding the princess dwelling. Qi Yunruo saw that as the plump woman left the house, she glared without any sense of politeness at Wang Er, and Wang Er merely snorted. Wang Er turned to Qi Yunruo and the rest. From now on, whenever you see that cheap person, don't give her a good expression. A person who turned her back on their master. When it comes down to it, she's merely a slave. Qi Yunruo now understood. That woman used to be a maidservant of the princess, but she had found stability at Yue Hóu's side and no longer treated the princess with respect. Come noon, Li Chen led 500 personal guards toward Yue Hóu's royal tent. The Qiang guarded heavily against them and waited closely. A Guermu hid at the back, not daring to make an appearance. He had told Yue Hóu to be in charge of the peace talks this time. These past few days, Fpyq had holed up in his own tent and have seldom come out. Li Chen rode his horse calmly to Yue Hóu's royal tent, under the covetous gazes of the Qiang boring through his body. He stared at the residence of Princess Changping for a while, not a word escaping his lips. Yue Hóu led others to the front of the tent to receive his guests. Li Chen hopped off his horse. The armistice had not been agreed upon yet. Li Chen's men were still moving around the Qiang lands. If Li Chen did not have his troops retreat, the Qiang could not do anything about it. Fpyq invited Li Chen into his place to discuss official business. Li Chen looked at the only house around. Fpyq smiled and said, "The princess has already instructed people to prepare the banquet. After the peace talks are completed, it won't be too late for your highness to see the princess." "All right," said Li Chen after a long pause. Li Chen only had one condition for pulling back his troops: the Qiang would give up land and become a vassal state. Never had Fpyq expected for Li Chen to start out this tyrannical. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. He contemplated for a while, before saying, "Royal father would not agree to that. Since your distinguished country is looking for peace, you must provide goodwill," said Li Chen. "Our Emperor of Great Kong is willing to confer Yuè Hóu the position of a prince of the first rank, an eldest prince as his heir. The title will be hereditary and will not depreciate through generations. As for giving up land, from what this prince knows, the Qiang has a few tribes that have always caused trouble at our border. If Yuè Hóu cannot control them, then Cao will assume control." In a low voice, Fpyq said, "One would fear that it wouldn't just be the lands of these tribes. After your distinguished country becomes a vassal state, our Emperor of Great Kong ought to assimilate it. In the future, our Great Kong will send 100 teachers to impart to the Qiang civilians the culture of the Han. If the Qiang tribes are willing to settle down within the pass, Great Kong is willing to offer housing and land for them to use." Fpyq wasn't a fool. In a flash, he understood Li Chen's intention. If in the future, the Qiang willingly settled inside the pass, they could live by farming. The central plains were more suitable for people to live in than their original territory. Many of the Qiang would set down their weapons and become Great Kang's farmers. As for the matter with the Han teachers, Great Kong wanted to use them to seize their lands. To turn the Qiang's thirst for battle into the Han's scholarly temperament. However, Fpyq did not immediately retort. He hesitated. In the past, he had been fond of Han culture, but royal father and Fpyq hated this the most, and as such, grew to hate him more and more. If it weren't for Fpyq losing the war, how could this position of crown prince ever reach his hands? Fpyq said, "If the Qiang agree to become a vassal state of Great Kong, and our leader becomes a subject to your emperor, hopefully we can maintain our status as a nation." This humble prince has no qualms regarding the Han teachers migrating to the Qiang territory. Li Chen said, "The Qiang lands must be absorbed into Great Kong." Fpyq sighed. "Your Highness, your honored self's merits are already incomparable to anyone else's in the past century. Us Qiang have been independent for hundreds of years. If our nation falls under this humble prince's hands, this humble prince will be condemned in history by the Qiang." Li Chen said in a straightforward manner, "The Western Owl tribe and Fpyq tribe must fall under the Great Kang's control." Most of the Qiang was composed of 8 tribes. The Western Owl tribe and Fpyq tribe were the bravest and best at battle. The 2 tribes were very close to the territory of Great Kong and often disturbed their civilians, killing, burning, and looting. Furthermore, during this war, the Western Owl tribe suffered a lot of losses. Nu Baiha and most of the 12 Western Owl Yakshas had perished by Li Chen's hands. Although their tribe had suffered a setback leading to total collapse, their hatred was still very strong. If they ever obtained an opportunity for revenge, they would definitely grab it. And regarding the Fpyq tribe, they supplied the second most troops in the war. They also suffered many casualties. Fpyq said, "This doesn't make sense. Your Highness, the 2 tribes are still in our Qiang lands. Even if the great state of Kong sent officials to supervise them, one would fear they still could not suppress that pack of wolves." Fpyq smiled bitterly. Even if it were this humble prince who wanted to supervise these 2 tribes, this humble prince would not be able to. Li Chen nodded. "Eldest prince needs not trouble yourself over how Great Kong manages these 2 tribes. In the future, eldest prince will be the next chief of the Qiang. This could either be far away from now or soon. In all likelihood, you also don't want subordinates who do not listen to you. Bua Hugur's heart thumped. What does your highness mean? Li Chen indifferently said, whether the Qiang becomes a vassal state of Great Kong or becomes absorbed into Great Kong, the appointment of the chief must be done according to the wishes of our emperor. Eldest prince is receptive toward Great Kong. We naturally will share this sentiment. At present, Bua Hugur was still very young. He had just turned 30 and his father was hale and hearty. If his father and Fpyq had a chance to make a comeback, they would definitely kick aside someone like himself, who was in favor of peace talks. But in the present, he would definitely become the next chief of the Qiang. And then he could banish Fpyq and request his father to abdicate. The capital of Great Kong is a suitable place for living, said Li Chen. If Yuè is willing to retire in the capital, our emperor would be extremely welcoming. Really? Bua Hugur's heart grew more chaotic. After discussing for 4 hours, Bua Hugur checked the sky and lightly smiled. Your Highness, it's getting late. Princess should have already prepared the food to entertain your honored self. A trace of a smile appeared on Li Chen's lips. Bua Hugur gestured forward. After you. Li Chen still remembered Li Yao as she had appeared 8 years prior, dressed red from head to toe as she climbed onto the horse-drawn carriage, slowly leaving the capital. Since then, her beautiful image had been etched into his memories. From far away, Li Chen couldn't help but stop in his tracks. His gaze fell upon that woman, and did not leave for a long time. Li Yao also stared at her younger brother who had used to follow her everywhere. He had grown tall, and was already a mature and handsome man. Her eyes suddenly filled with tears. And finally, Li Chen approached her one step at a time. We have finally reunited, she said, her voice trembling. Li Chen nodded. He reached out to hold his eldest sister's hand. Smiling, Li Yao wiped her tears. Come. Follow me in. They seemed just as they had been in the past, as if the years they had spent apart did not affect them at all. Li Yao brought Li Chen to sit by her side. She examined his face. It was like looking at his younger self, his gaze firm and persistent, expression calm. A soft sigh left her lips. I always knew. I always knew you would succeed. I've promised you this, said Li Chen. A trace of regret sat between Li Yao's brows. She looked at her younger brother with a gentle gaze. I cannot return to Great Kong. Li Chen's hold on her hand tightened. With her free hand, Li Yao patted the back of his. She smiled. Don't be like this. You should understand that I've long since been unable to return. Ever since I agreed on the political marriage to the northwest, I have never thought of coming back. Pain revealed itself on Li Chen's face. He said, but grandmother has already come out of seclusion. I'll bring you back to see grandmother, all right. Bitter laughter spilled from Li Yao's lips as she reached out. She touched her younger brother's face. Brother Chen, be very filial toward grandmother in my stead. Tell her Yao cannot return and will pray for grandmother. The slaves started to serve the dishes one after the other. Li Chen and Li Yao did not speak any further. Wang stayed close by to attend to them, grateful to see a true smile finally appear on her master's face. At this moment, Yunruo was in the kitchen, waiting for the Qiang chefs to slice the barbecue. The chef was very meticulous, arranging the grilled lamb into the shape of a sheep on the plate. Yunruo listened to the noises outside the kitchen, paying less and less attention to what he was doing. A few new slave girls went to tidy up the room the prince would stay in. Yunruo hated that he couldn't follow along for a look. But he also didn't know how he would explain himself otherwise. He could only bring the meat out with a gloomy face. Fpyq never brought out the person the prince from Great Kong was looking for. I heard that second prince never encountered this person. Maybe he died. A sigh. It's just a male pet. I heard that the princes of the great state of Kong have these interests. Those male pets have very low statuses. I really can't understand. If they died, why not just get another one? Ppyq's people spoke in the Qiang tongue. Qi Yunruo, who was passing by with his head lowered, did not understand them. He seemed to be drawing closer and closer to the prince. With his head still lowered, Qi Yunruo exposed his slender and white nape. Ppyq's expression froze. He scrutinized him. All of a sudden, he grabbed Qi Yunruo's sleeve as he spoke to people around him in the Qiang tongue. Qi Yunruo stood there in a daze, holding the plate of meat. His gaze revealed a trace of fear. What happened? Did they recognize him? How? They shouldn't have been able to. He found the laughs of Ppyq's people unsettling. Those people then said a few more words. Ppyq nodded, before calling some other Qiang men over. Qi Yunruo watched them, flustered. He wanted to walk past them to the drawing room, but just when he was able to take one step in that direction, a tall Qiang man obstructed his path. Another one took the large tray in his hands, and another two dragged him to another direction. The moment Qi Yunruo wanted to scream, he was muffled. Then the tall Qiang man lifted him with one hand. Qi Yunruo struggled, but it was in vain, watching as the drawing room grew farther and farther away. There, Li Yao picked up some food with her chopsticks and dropped it into Li Chen's bowl. Have you found the person you are looking for yet? Li Chen's expression grew gloomy. Fpyq doesn't have him. And the people I've sent to Xinyuan country still haven't returned any news. How could he survive by himself? Li Yao did not respond. Li Chen shook his head and smiled bitterly. Perhaps I've made a mistake in bringing him to the northwest. Li Yao said, if I have a chance to meet him, I definitely have to thank him for saving you. Right now I only hope that he is all right. Even if he's somewhere I don't know. In this long stretch of years apart, Li Chen had many things he wanted to say to his elder sister. However, in the evening, they ate as they casually chatted. They did not bring up many serious topics. Li Chen would stay in the Qiang people's royal capital for a while. After they had finished eating, he made for the tent Ppyq had prepared for him. Exhaustion seeped into his bones. He had spent a lot of energy during the peace talks with Ppyq. Everything weighed on his shoulders, but no matter what, he could not fall apart. Li Chen lifted the door curtain of the tent. All of a sudden, he sensed something was off. There was someone inside. He unsheathed the dagger by his waist. From its blade flashed a cold glint. The tent was large. Candle light illuminated the room, but from where he stood, he could not obtain a clear view of the interior's entirety. He slowly approached the bed as the person sitting on the side of the bed lifted their head. Little Qi. Your Highness, although Qi Yunruo had suspected this was the prince's tent, when he laid eyes on him, he could not help the rush of emotions flooding his chest. It's the prince. It's really him. Li Chen knelt by the foot of the bed. In utter disbelief, he reached out to touch little Qi's cheek. For such a long time, he had dreamt of little Qi. And since they were dreams, he wouldn't be real. Was it the same now? Was he drunk? Noticing the lament in the prince's eyes, Qi Yunruo felt like crying. He got off the bed and knelt by Li Chen's side, draping his body over him. In this moment, Li Chen realized little Qi's hands were tied behind his back. Furrowing his brows, he asked, "How did this happen? Who tied you up?" Then he carefully cut the restraints with his dagger. Ppyq's men tied him up after they had brought him here. Moreover, they threw him on the bed. Back then, fear had pierced Qi Yunruo's heart. After those people had left, he tried struggling again, but suddenly, a thought hit him. Why were there so many Han decorations here? In fact, one glance, and it was evident the tent was new, meant for receiving important guests. Qi Yunruo's heart trembled. Was this tent prepared for the prince? Qi Yunruo grew more and more certain. He returned to the bed and sat at the side. Indeed, he had guessed correctly. The person who entered really was the prince. Qi Yunruo smoothed out the wrinkles between Li Chen's brow. Feeling sorry, Li Chen rubbed the bruises on his hand. Qi Yunruo pursed his lips in a faint smile. Your Highness, I'm fine. But many things have happened to me. Is your honored self willing to hear? Li Chen's gaze fell upon him. You definitely suffered a lot. Once more did Qi Yunruo smile. The two sat up in bed. Leaning against Li Chen, he said, Your honored self definitely won't be able to guess it. What kind of identity did I use to come here? Li Chen pulled Qi Yunruo close in an embrace. He finally felt like the notch in his heart had repaired itself. Qi Yunruo began to talk about his circumstances, starting from the Yun River, where Cheng Sija had fished him up. When he arrived at Zenyuan country's royal capital. When Feng Qiang and Tan Xiao tried to revolt. When he ran out of the secret tunnels underneath the palace, provoking 3 Qiang men to pursue him. Qi Yunruo spoke calmly. However, Li Chen's heart tightened to an immense degree. After that, Feng Qiang and I arrived at Zenyuan country's human market, and I sold myself to Boss Moshi. Boss Moshi brought me to the Qiang territory to wait on Princess Chongping. Qi Yunruo did not mention the dangers he had experienced when leaving Zenyuan country. He merely sighed. Unfortunately, I did not get to see Brother Ji. But I'm satisfied that I actually could see your honored self here. Once we return to the capital, I definitely have to tell Brother Ji about my journey. Li Chen listened without a word until he had finished speaking. He looked at his face, which still held a smile. Little Qi has grown up. At the sound of those words, Qi Yunruo blushed. Then, embarrassed and at a loss, he turned away. Li Chen stroked his cheeks. He understood why little Qi would appear here. It's probably because Pyq heard that he liked men and just happened to see little Qi. And due to an unexpected turn of events, he and little Qi were able to meet again. Looking at Qi Yunruo, he said in a low voice, You've also grown taller. He pulled the blushing Qi Yunruo to a stand and compared their heights. You've truly gotten taller. In the past, you reached my chin. Now, you're up to my nose. Really? Qi Yunruo looked up, eyes sparkling. Li Chen frowned again. But you've gotten a lot skinnier. Qi Yunruo did not have that impression. However, in Li Chen's eyes, he was already skin and bones. From tomorrow on, you need to eat more to make up for it. More meat. There's a lot of sheep milk and cow milk here. Don't dislike it because of the smell. Drinking it is good for the body. When Qi Yunruo thought about it, all those Qiang people who grew up drinking sheep and cow milk were in fact very tall and he couldn't help but laugh. Li Chen lowered his head, and said near whisper, Grow some meat but don't get any taller. Qi Yunruo shifted his gaze to him, eyes carrying a smile. The two spoke for a long time, before drowsiness gradually spread through them. Li Chen and Qi Yunruo held each other as they lay in the large bed. For a long stretch of time, Qi Yunruo had not felt this relaxed. There was nothing left that could worry him now. He only needed to stay in this person's arms, and this person would protect him, solving every problem and eliminating every danger. Still can't sleep. Qi Yunruo reached out, wrapping his arms around Li Chen's neck. I'm very tired but I can't fall asleep. Li Chen patted his back. Qi Yunruo closed his eyes, and tightly held the person by his side, gradually sinking in the land of dreams. But Li Chen had yet to fall asleep. Under the yellow candlelight, he stared at the face of the person sleeping next to him. He thought, Little Qi, you've finally returned to my side. I've said it before that as long as you returned, I will love you with all my heart. End chapter.